Hi everybody, my name is Gerry and it's bloody freezing. This is the Photo Africa weekly chat. I think it's week number 7. So rolling along very nicely. We're out in Madikwe again today. I had to do this. You see, I've got people with me today. We're doing a day trip through Madikwe. We have to go and collect some things on the far eastern side. We thought we'll do a day trip of it, stop at the dam, do some stars, but then the clouds come in. And I've been given a hard time because I say a lot. So let's try and work on that today. Anyway, we almost did it again. We arrived at the dam early this morning about 4:30, wind blowing off the water. It is freezing out here. And the idea was to shoot stars initially. We did some of those. The clouds came over. You'll see behind me the sun is just starting to rise. So we're going to pack it up for now and we're going to head over to another dam. We're going to be shooting some birds and moving things there. Also get some coffee, which is way overdue. Then we're going to make our way through Madikwe, and for today's episode I thought what we'll do is we'll stop in between, and if we find an interesting sighting for photographically or visually at least, to look at what you can shoot and things. So today I'm going to shoot this in different parts. We'll stick them together, and more than likely this is going to be another two-parter. What else? Later we're going to speak about the whole thing about amateur and professional photographers. There's still this connotation that if you're an amateur you're bad, or not bad, but you're not as good as a professional. I think it's complete crap, and we're going to discuss that a little bit later on once I've had my coffee and sense of humor returns. So for now, what else are we going to do? We're going to pick it up in pieces and stick them together. So for now, I think that's about it. I'll leave you now with a quick tutorial on Lightroom. I'm going to pick up from last week where we looked at the selective desaturation of colors. If you didn't see that one, check last week's episode number 2, episode 6, part number 2. Nita Gulbas, I think from Arizona, dropped a comment just on different ways you can do that same thing. So I'll do a quick Lightroom tutorial in here now, and I'll be back on the other side once it's hopefully a bit warmer, and then we'll take it from there. So with this, Grant's going to show you a bit of the sunrise and Lightroom tutorial, different way to selectively desaturate. I'll see you in a bit. Right, for today's Lightroom tutorial, we're picking up again from where we left off last week with selective desaturation. You remember last week we had a look at the chameleon with the red background. We're going to work on this one today, a red-billed teal on some blue water. So we come up to develop module, click there once, and the reason we're doing the same thing here is we got a comment from Nita Gulbas giving us another way to do this. So let's give it a bash. Coming to HSL, hue, saturation, and luminance. My saturation is selected. Now you'll remember from last week we used the sliders. Let me use an example. Check the blue out. In case you missed it, click and hold on the blue slider and you drag it over to the left, which desaturates just the blue channel. So there you've got the same image. You can see on the left here, on the right here, the blue is now minus 100, so there's no blue in this image. Might be a little bit at the top here, and that's what we're after. So, how are we going to fix this? Double click on the little slider to get it back to 0. Right, back to normal. You can use these sliders, or then, like Nita now points out, you can also use this little icon at the top. Watch what happens when we hover the cursor over there. You get these two little arrows, up and down, almost like little elevator buttons. Take it away, it's gone again. So, we click on the circle, and you get your little elevator sign staying there. Now watch what happens when I take my cursor onto the image. I get that, a little crosshair and then the elevator button. Watch what also, as I move this cursor across the screen, watch on the side here. You see as I highlight each slider, as I now move the cursor over the image, that specific color underneath the slider, watch red channel up there, we've got some yellows and oranges here, and the blue. The slider gets highlighted. So what we can do, instead of using the sliders, we get our little elevator button tool and we click and hold on any specific image. You'll see blue is highlighted on the right hand side. So click and hold, and now you just drag up and down with your mouse. So as you do that, the computer changes that channel only. Yeah, see it again? Choosing blue, you'll see blue is highlighted on the side as I come onto a blue area. Click and hold, and as I drag my mouse up or down, the slider moves and it adjusts accordingly. Very handy. Let's get that back to 0. Oop, almost. Double click to get 0. Right, now the interesting thing with this elevator button tool, we'll call it that for now, is we come up over here and you'll see my yellow channel is now highlighted. If you look over here, yellow channel is highlighted. So if I click and hold and I desaturate the yellow, watch what happens. The oranges come along with it. You see there, I got 0 yellow in this image, and orange has also been desaturated by -9. So let's bring them back to normal. Why this is a nice thing is if you've got an image like this where the oranges, yellows, and the greens and things mush together quite a bit, if you click and hold on that area, the computer will automatically see, watch again, as we take it down, this area, more yellow. Let's try another area here. If we choose something like that, see, there my orange and my yellow come along. So if there are colors together, then the computer will, when you use this elevator button tool, it will automatically then use both of those to desaturate that area completely. You'll remember from last week we had the issue with the outline of the chameleon where I had to move two of these sliders to get it desaturated. This now sorted out for us. So very, very handy to use. Double click back to normal, and when you're finished with it, you can either just double click on the icon again, or down here you've got a done button. Done, and my elevator buttons are gone, back to normal. This same little tool here can also be used if we close this channel there and we open the tone curve. You'll see here it is again. Now what this does, the sliders here, we'll get to this in some future chats and so on, highlights, lights, dark and shadows. This is basically from pure black down here all the way through grays, lighter grays up to white. So what this does, if I now click on the same little button, see there's my elevator buttons, I've clicked on there. When I come over, you'll see that the lights, darks and shadows, it gives me which area I'm on. Right, so it's very white would be a highlight, some of the grays might be a light, feathers dark, and then the black areas will be a shadow. If I go over the image, let's choose some of these feathers, click and hold, again I'm only using that channel, and if I move it up and down, you can see how that only the one slider on the right hand side is moving. If we come to the lights, again, only the one slider, and look at how the image changes. So this very handy tool for you to visually make adjustments to your image. All right, there we go. That's just a little playing around thing. I just wanted to show you that this icon is available in the tone curve panel as well, but for today's exercise, we stick with HSL, saturation, desaturating the image using your two little elevator buttons. Right. All right, that was a very, very quick look at using that little elevator tool to selectively desaturate, and like you saw in the tutorial, you can also use it for your curves and things to make that happen. Right, as we said in the first part of the video, we're in Madikwe today and I'm running an errand from the western side all the way over to the east, so we're going to stop and shoot this thing in increments. Yes, it is still cold. It's about 10:15 now, and even now, if you've ever been on a game drive vehicle, you know you get the snotty nose sniffles because you've got wind and it's cold and it's not nice. So if I do sniff, that's why. Sorry. There I said him again. I'm looking at recently on a couple of forums, the whole thing of professional and amateur photographers came up again. What makes you professional? Now, I think over the last while, over a couple of years now, long time, where someone buys, they buy themselves a proper, decent, professional camera, it automatically makes them better than the next person. Like I said earlier, that's complete rubbish. The word amateur has gotten a negative connotation, and I think that is so wrong, because there's many photographers out there who are not professional, yet they create fantastic work. If we look back, just a little bit of reading on this last night, the word professional comes from profess, apparently some old Latin word, which has to do with, it means to tell something or to share something. Now, that comes from way back when people were inducted into some kind of religious order, and they would have to publicly profess their vows. So what that would mean is they make a commitment publicly to that order, to their beliefs. Amateur, on the other hand, would be from an old Latin word called amatore, I think the pronunciation is correct, and that has to do with, it means lover of. So if you're an amateur, you're a lover of whatever you're busy with. So now the question comes up, I mean, an amateur photographer does it because he loves it. That's important. A professional does it, someone would immediately say, it's about the money. You get paid to do something. That doesn't make you a better photographer. It makes you a photographer who get paid to do what you do. If you still love it, that's a bonus, and I really hope if you're calling yourself a professional, you are actually loving what you do. Otherwise, you're just making a complete, what would it be? A whorehouse over the whole thing, where you're whoring it out and doing it just for the money. I think that is so wrong. Now, think of professors to tell something. A professor at a university will tell something or they'll share something. People like that have the professional title included would be a doctor or a lawyer, and those people all share something. They share, and they've taken an oath of sorts, and they are sharing their knowledge and their passion with us. What my problem comes in twofold. Number one is the belief that an amateur is not as good as a professional, and also professionals out there who call themselves professional who do not share, because that is what this is all about. I mean, if you've been following this chat over the last couple of weeks, professional, it's about sharing. For me, it's about sharing all of this. So now, for a professional to go around, assume that they're better at photography than an amateur, that's all wrong. Amateur for the love of. And that's, I think, what makes us come. That's what makes us stand out in the cold here. Got up at 4:30 this morning to go and do what we love. The professional also. I mean, I've had professional photographers. True story. I think about 2-3 years ago, I led a photo walk. One of the Scott Calby's worldwide photo walks happen once a year. Next one's on 1st and 2nd October this year. Anyway, 2 years ago we were in Cape Town. I led the walk there, and there was this professional photographer. She just bought herself a D3S, just on the market then. It was fantastic, and we were talking. 3 of us were talking about it, and someone asked her, "I hear the low light noise ability on the D3S is quite good." So the response is from the professional photographer, "Yeah, no, it is very quiet." Please explain. She says, "No, it doesn't make much noise." Come again? What this professional photographer was saying is that when it clicked, the shutter click, it's a quiet camera. She had no idea what noise and the low light ability and ISO and things like that was. Yet, she was pawning herself off as a professional photographer, which gives everybody else who's in that game a bad name. There are people out there who do fantastic, fantastic work, professional guys who do it for a living. They get up in the morning and they get paid to do what they do. Yet, if you ask them whether they love what they do, most of them will say yes. And then the last thing for me, and that's what's important, is they're willing to share their knowledge, they share their experience. They are willing to mentor people who want to learn what they know and what they can do. So, buying a professional level camera does not make you a professional. It just makes you, I mean, it's like buying a Nikon doesn't make you a great photographer, it makes you a Nikon owner. It's also the same thing. So, professional and amateur, if you are not a professional photographer, if you do not get paid to do what you do, even if you sell a couple of pics on the side, but you don't do it full time, please do not fall under this belief that because you are an amateur, you are not as good as a professional. That is complete rubbish. Right? You love what you do, and that's what gets us going out there. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one, because there's a lot of people who still believe professional must be better, amateur, beginner, negative connotations. So, yeah, let's send me some comments on that one, professional, amateur. If you're a professional, tell me what makes you get up, apart from the money, because there's more than that. If you're an amateur, why do you do this? I mean, for me, I know why I go out in the mornings to go and shoot stars at 4:30 in the morning and freeze my butt off. It's the final result, the creation part of it. Being out there on my own, doing my thing, all with friends, and sharing the whole thing. So, the wind is picking up again. We're going to continue our journey over to the eastern side of Madikwe. For now, professional, amateur, send me your thoughts. We'll pick up on this again a little bit later on, and then wrap this one up from there. See you in a bit. Okay guys, we've reached the eastern side of Madikwe. Long day trip. We've been out just from the western side all the way across east. We've been photographing as we go. We've done some birds, stars, lions popped up, awesome sighting. So we're going to quickly do what we need to do. If we get through that properly, we'll be back with part 2 later on. What I thought we'd do in part 2, because I'm running out of time on this specific clip, is to look at, it's been Grant, my dad and myself shooting today, and then our 2 wives came with. They're very cold still, well, we will show you pictures. They just going to look at what we shot throughout the day and what photographic tips and ideas came up. So we're going to start part 2 a little bit later on. We're going to negotiate this, and part 2 then will be us looking at tips throughout the day that we picked up that hopefully you guys can use, and also 1 or 2 questions that we got in that I'm going to quickly look to as well. So this is wrapping up part 1. See you for part 2. We're going to deal with this now.